Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of June 20th, 2024. The current character challenge is Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Aquaman, Cyborg, and Superman, who are a challenge gold, bronze, and gold. If you're looking at the lowest tier, you can get each of them respectively, which means that you can only get Aquaman as a challenge gold. That's the easiest way to get him.
Yeah.
Her passive is Sword of Athena, which is Wonder Woman's special attacks trigger team health gain, which provides 50% of the special attacks damage in healing. She's got 1,100 attack, 1,400 health, was last available on the 27th of July, 2023.
Okay. She's got decent high stats, even if they do skew a bit towards health, which is not what we prefer. So, bit of oral history. About the same time, way back when, there were two skins of Wonder Woman that were released. It was Justice League Wonder Woman, who is now since been renamed New 52 Wonder Woman, and Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman. Both of them had passives that helped her teammates, that triggered with their specials. New 52 would give power, but only to Justice League teammates. And Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman gives health, but to everybody. And maybe that's a little bit of a reflection of the fact that the health is not nearly as valuable as power. Mm-hmm. So it's not nearly as unbalancing if you heal everybody than if you gave power to everybody.
Yeah.
And if you've been following us for any length of time, you know already which one we favored. We even had a team that tried to carry both of them at the same time. So it was New 52 Superman, New 52 Wonder Woman, and Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman. That was our first attempt at a Justice League team. But the way we usually like to play it, health is a little bit too defensive. So we eventually just replaced Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman and don't use her very much. Mm-hmm. If you look at her play, the one thing, it's not particularly valuable, but the one thing where Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman stands out is her tap basic combo. The combo ender has 3 hits instead of the usual 1. Mm-hmm. So her light combo does more total damage than her heavy combo if the combo ender triggers.
Yeah.
And so that's good for any gears that have a combo ender effect. But, you know, I don't generally like to rely on that too much just because combo enders only trigger for us about half the time.
Yeah.
But in the spirit of using each character as the main damage dealer, we are focusing on using her as our main damage dealer and a special specialist using Tentu Totem and Master's Death card. The problem is, I guess, when you don't use New 52 Wonder Woman, right? You're using almost any other Wonder Woman. You really appreciate how good New 52 Wonder Woman is, giving power to her teammates. So, the last time we used Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman, we had her on a full Dawn of Justice team. This time around, we're slotting her into a team with Rebirth Raven and Hawkgirl, partly to figure out what she's good at. It's a great support team for doing that. Mm-hmm. And, all right, so the description of her special one talks about it like having multiple hits is a good thing. It is absolutely not. Instead of a quick fling of the shield, like most of the Wonder Woman's, that would let you reload quickly, do it again, it just takes way too long to complete for not enough damage. And that's the main reason we don't have Claw of Horus on her, because her special one isn't that effective to shatter multiple gears quickly. I mean, and what I'm really talking about is Astral Harness, right? Where all the other Wonder Women, you can do special one over and over and over again before the invulnerability goes away. You can shatter it. Mm-hmm. You can't do it that quickly. And she basically gets just the one special one while the opponent is invulnerable. So she ends up using up her power, and you don't have as good a chance of shattering Astral Harness to make it worth shattering it and then locking them in and then bringing Wonder Woman back in your whoever else your main damage dealer is to knock out the Astral Harness opponent. Mm-hmm. Her special 2 is one of the ones that changes if the opponent blocks. You lose the last hits that come normally with the second mini game. And I guess maybe to make up for this, the first 2 hits have a good range. And I guess the last hits have a good range if the opponent doesn't block. But the advantage of that over some other characters is that you don't need to be close to your opponent for the hits to land. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, I guess, that makes up for it a little bit is despite having a damage over time effect, the special 2 is full damage for her attack stat.
Yeah.
Which is really unusual. I think she might be the only one who has this without the damage over time being mentioned in her passive. Right? Because if it's the passive, it doesn't deduct from the special 2 value.
Yeah.
But she doesn't, that's not her passive, and somehow it's still good. I mean, the closest is Arkham Knight Catwoman, I think, whose damage on her special 2 is 75% of what it should be with a stated damage over time effect.
Yeah, so, interesting character, got her own quirks. She's okay,
Yeah.
right? She's not great, and there's a very similar character that is just better.
Oh, I should point out, too, if the opponent blocks, because you lose the last few hits, and the damage over time triggers on the last hit, you don't get damage over time effective if the opponent blocks.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
We are 8 weeks into sort of uncharted territory with the new cycle. Because of the nature of things, we don't have a good guess at what next week is. There's not a strong indication in the packs for what next week would be.
Except we do suspect, because of the pattern so far, it's going to be one of the Lost Challenge characters coming back after a long time away.
But we don't really know who. So we'll just have to wait and see altogether.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is no clue is a good indication that it's one of the older Last Challenge characters, probably.
If we're going to guess, when we can talk about the packs later, but it's not a great clue.
Mm-hmm. This week's multiplayer award is the Black Power Battery, which becomes Nekron Scythe. When it's maxed out, it gives you a 40% power steal on basic attacks if health is lower than 15%, a 200% increased damage against frozen or stunned opponents, a 40% life drain on basic attacks if HP is lower than 15%, and an evolved ability of KO an enemy to gain Resurrect with 65% health on death once per match. Last available on the 16th of November 2023. We are years into this pattern, relatively. And we expect Claw of Horus to be next week.
Right. So this is a true legendary gear, one of only 2 that boosts damage against stunned opponents. That ability itself, by itself, nothing else, it is worth a gear slot. Mm-hmm. But the boosted damage against frozen opponents makes it even better in one axis compared to the OG, which is
Cloak of Destiny. Yeah, it's frozen in addition to stunned instead of just stunned. Cloak of Destiny has boosted critical damage. Nekron Scythe has the interesting thing. The 15% stuff is not so great, right? Especially because you heal out of it with its own ability, you don't spend a lot of time at the 15%.
Right.
So it ends up just not coming up enough. Most of the time you're that low, you're either dying or you're healing a little bit and then dying, or healing a little bit and just surviving and not getting to take advantage of it. But the KO effect to give you the Resurrect is pretty cool.
Right. All right, so the counter against this, or what you run into trouble with the abilities, like you were saying that they're not, the low health abilities aren't that great. You run a potential problem against anybody that has 2 pieces of LexCore gear set.
That's true.
Versus Power Steal, so you're actually worse off. I think the best way to take advantage of the 2 low health abilities is probably with New 52 Shazam.
Yeah.
You need to max out his passive so that it lasts as long as possible, which requires at least Elite 3 and lots of Valorium alloy. Mm-hmm. And that way, when his passive triggers to give him 21 seconds, right, that's the maxed out version of his passive.
Yeah.
He's knockout immune. His health can be low enough to trigger the abilities of Nekron Scythe, and he gets 21 seconds of life drain and power steal, which is pretty good. But even without all that, right?
Well, once he gets his life drain up, won't he still go out of the 15%?
Yeah, but he can
get knocked back down again.
Yeah, he can take damage.
Yeah, but that's only if he's taking damage. So it's still kind of iffy. And that's the best case scenario ever.
Yeah, that's true. It's still good enough as a gear that we've got it on. We've used it on a bunch of other teams, right?
Yeah.
So for example, Blackest Night Flash, who has a passive that takes advantage of revives.
Yeah.
Using it 1 gear slot only to get a revive, that's pretty sweet.
Still a good deal
here. Yeah, way better than needing 2 pieces of 4th War gear set. Yeah.
Moving on to the store, we have the Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman pack was last week's, right?
Oh, yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. So that would have been our clue, but we didn't go over the packs last week.
And there's a second week of the Gotham Gold pack, which we didn't talk about. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about now. It's that it's crappy pack. You get 3 cards that are all available in the store
for $24.99 Canadian.
Yeah, 2 are gold, 1 is silver. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's Bane gold, Deathstroke silver, and Insurgency Joker gold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting, we've got the Survivor pack, and that is potentially the clue that we were talking about, because there's 2 Scorpions there, and I believe both of those Scorpions are missing from the those are the Lost Challenge characters.
Yeah. Regardless, it's good because it's a power credits pack that gives you specific characters.
Right.
So, I would recommend it if you can afford it.
So the only other new pack this week is the character bundle Batman versus Superman. And that's your opportunity to get Dawn of Justice Batman, Dawn of Justice Superman, and 2 gears. Not the common gears, but the Dawn of Justice gears, which is Batman's hooded cloak, which becomes a cowl, and the glasses, which becomes, I can't remember, is it Clark Kent's glass? I can't remember what it evolves into. And the interesting thing about Dawn of Justice Batman is that other than when he was a random drop in a special gold pack, so he was like the chase card in the pack that you could get for credits, he's really only been available for cash.
Yeah.
And this is one of those times where if you want to complete your collection, $24.99 for 2 characters, one of which you can't really get otherwise, it's not an awful deal.
Yeah.
If you're going to support the devs.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is broken, as it's been for a very long time now. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Bane, Killer Frost, and Ares, so this coming weekend should be Sinestro, Green Arrow, and Scorpion. And we have a link in the description to a thread that goes through the complete breakthrough cycle if you want to see it.
No.
This is not the first week of the month. The 6th of June 2024 was that, so that was where we go through glitches in more detail. We would also go over anything changing, but it's been a while since anything as far as glitches changed. Importantly, the reset for the challenge has been tested and confirmed on the Dawn of Justice Wonder Woman challenge, and that is the main thing that people will care about with that right now.
Right.
And to finish up, I'd like to give a huge thank you. I should say we'd like to give a huge thank you, but it's only coming out of my mouth right now.
Yes.
I'd like to give a huge thank you to Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Paolo-Cesar-Pablo-Juan supporting us on the credited level, as well as 5x5 on the gratitude level. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.